It's been a while since my last Atticus video walkthrough for formatting an ebook as well as a paperback to pretty much trad quality standards. So I wanted to do a video today. It's going to be a detailed walkthrough of both the ebook as well as the paperback using Atticus to format both. And as you'll see, it's not as difficult as it seems. You can get a very professional looking professional looking interior for just a few minutes of your time. Obviously, there's a cost to this software, so if you're not ready for that, that's not a problem. But today we're going to focus on Atticus, which is my formatting software of choice. So let's dive in. Hopefully you've opened Atticus and you've logged in and all that. This is probably what you're going to see. So don't worry about recent work. If you don't have any, don't worry about it. This should not be here. Okay, but if you click on upload a book, what you will see is a pop-up screen. And if at any time, you can always click on see tutorials, by the way. It brings you to some Atticus resources, which is great. You can even write inside Atticus. That's not what I do. So I'm going to show you what I do, but you are very welcome to write inside Atticus, okay? I don't use it because it's been glitchy in the past, and I just prefer writing my manuscript in Microsoft Word or Google Docs, either one of those. I'm most comfortable with Microsoft Word, so that's what I use. Basically, I click upload a book because I've got a Microsoft Word document. When you click on upload a book, you will see this box pop up, and we're going to go through that, okay? Let's dive in. We're going to click on upload our file as easy graphics. But here we go. We're going to use a D2D sample. It's just a sample file, as I've just called it D2D because I use D2D formatting as examples as well. So this is my sample page. I'm going to show you that soon. You can title your book, okay? So I don't know, I write thrillers at the moment, and you don't have to label a project name if you don't want to. Well, basically you upload your book over here. So let me just go get them at Atticus, and then I will show you what the interior looks like in Microsoft Word, okay? So it's going to get all that information, and we're going to go through it together, all right? It's going to be a bit slow, so if you need to pause this video at any time, don't worry about it. We can pause that, all right? So let's have a look. I'm going to open the D2D sample. Here we are. Let me just maximize this for now. Okay, so you can see this is just plain text, okay? So it's just normal, okay, the normal font, all right? And then I've got a copyright page. This is the title page. And we've got table of contents, which actually you don't need. Now, this is what I usually format in Microsoft Word before I upload it to Atticus. So over here, you'll see chapter 1, whatever it's called, doesn't matter. It's heading 1. Okay, heading 1 as the the style pane or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so heading 1, all right? So chapter, and then what I would do is, I haven't formatted all the chapters, chapter titles as heading 1. So what I can do is type in chapter, and then it will find this. Okay, so I'm just gonna make sure this is heading 1. Okay, it's heading 1. So let's look for the next one. Okay, this is not heading 1. If you look at this one here, this here is normal. So you're gonna change that to heading 1, and this is now heading 1. Okay, and then just go through the same thing. This is normal. Oh, so this is already heading 1. Sorry, just chapter. Chapter 4 is not, so we'll change that to heading 1, and so on. So let's have a look. Chapter 5 is heading 1 changed, okay. And then yeah, it's very tedious, but this is the only way to do it that I know of. I mean, you can scroll through and take your time, but basically what I'm trying to do is highlighting all the chapter titles, the chapter headings as heading 1, from converting from normal to heading 1, and you'll see what I mean later. So I think that's all done. So there's only 5 chapters here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think chapter 6, okay. Chapter 7, okay, there's more, sorry. Chapter 7, okay, that seems to be it. So let me have a look. I'm just going to take a quick scroll. So this is chapter 6, and then chapter 7, And that's pretty much it about the author if you want, you know. So actually about the author, I will put that in heading 1, and acknowledgements or whatever else you want to put there. Epilogue if you would like, heading 1 as well. So these are all the chapter headings. Make sure they are on the style panel. Make sure they are labeled heading 1, and then I'm going to save that. So let's jump back into Atticus. In fact, we're going to edit book details again. I'm going to start again actually, because we can we have the luxury of starting again in this case. So we're going to upload a book, D2D sample this time, and go get them Atticus. So if you see basically on the left hand side over here, Atticus has pulled in all the chapter heading 1s. Okay, so chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, epilogue about the author, and acknowledgements. Now the first 3, you'll see this is the title page, which is the one we had. So you don't really need this because it's got its own built-in title page. So we can get rid of that if we want. So I'm going to delete that. And then the next one was a copyright page, which again, we don't actually need because it's got a copyright page on its own. So if you wanted to, you can actually like delete that. So I'm going to cut that. Okay, and I'm going to go to the copyright page. So I'm just going to let you deal with this. I'm going to paste it. Okay, so copy, paste. So then you can decide what you want in your copyright page. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your copyright page. So I can delete that because there's no more copyright page. And then the final one is the table of contents, but you don't need the table of contents because Atticus automatically pulls in. Look, chapter 1, 2, 3. So this refers to chapter 1. Chapter 1 is the contents, table of contents page. So I'm going to just write TOC here, and then you'll see the table of contents up here over here. All right, which we don't actually need because it's got a built-in table of contents. So this one here, we don't actually need. I'm going to delete that. Now, here you go. So this is essentially your chapter 1, your chapter 2, and from here you can change your words, whatever you want to change it as. No problem. You know, you can make those changes, 5, 6, 7, and so on. Okay, just make sure you know everything lines up. Now here's a nifty thing they've introduced, and if you look on the bottom right hand side, previewer, so just click on that and you will see, obviously you got to select the device or print that you want to kind of get a feel as to what the reader is seeing. Now because this is an ebook, the ebook format that we're doing right now, I'm not too bothered about what font size and stuff, or even font choice, because the reader, the e-reader that the reader's going to use I know there's a lot of readers, but basically the reader can select what kind of font size. Okay, what kind of font size, they can select what kind of font they want to read in, and it depends on what device they have. Okay, so it depends on what device, like iPhones, iPads, or Galaxy Tabs, or whatever, or Kobos, so basically I don't pay too much attention to the size, the font size, or the font choice at this point because it's an ebook. But essentially you've done the hardest bit. You've pulled in the document, which you already had. You just need to set it up if you want. Set it up more fully over here. For example, copyright page, make sure it's all there. Table of contents, make sure it's all there. And then you'll probably want to have a scroll through to make sure chapter 1, for example, on the right hand side, make sure all the words come out as you would like. Okay, and then you're ready to for the ebook format, you're ready to literally pull out an ebook file. So Atticus is really good in the sense that it's already got like quite a few themes, they call it, and the reason these themes are there is for you to choose, if you like, how it's going to appear. But again, like I say, I'm not too worried about like the ebook format because it's going to change. Like if someone wants to use Georgia instead of I don't know, New York or something, then the words over here will change. But the heading over here might be nice to have something a bit more on point to your genre. Okay, so you know, just go through and select them, have a look, see how it looks, you know, and then choose one that you like, you know, like let's say I like that one. All you have to do for the ebook, this is pretty much it. This is it. You know, you can scroll through the chapters, all right, chapter 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on, epilogue, and then click export EPUB, and that is it, okay? And then over here, let's see, I can open this maybe. So this is the EPUB that we have just exported, okay? So this is how it's going to appear. So you got your title, so your title page, which was blank, and then your copyright page, I have not adjusted it. You can adjust that, and then you can click through, like over here, click through. There's number 1, 2, 3, and so on, right? And if you want, you can scroll through really quick. Okay, so this is the EPUB file, and there you go. That is it. Literally, it took me, you know, all of like 5 minutes to get an ebook, and that's your ebook file done, right? So we're gonna go into the paperback next, but that is your ebook file done. So with the ebook out the way, let's have a look at the paperback. So we're gonna change the previewer to print, and then it's gonna do a calculation thing and it's gonna reformat stuff. But let's say we've chosen this one, okay, this theme, Delphini. It doesn't really matter what theme you choose, to be honest. Just choose something, and then, you know, we'll roll with it, just for as an example. And then you can change the theme if you prefer a different theme. Don't worry about, you know, my choice of themes. You know, you can check other themes out that they have, that Atticus has. Now, all these themes are commercial, you know, license. Basically, you can use them commercially. That's why these are the set themes and set fonts. Now, you know, as I understand it, you know, if you go into the realms of like, can I upload my own fonts and that kind of thing, that's a layer of an extra layer that has not been built into Atticus yet. And I guess partly maybe that's because they can't say with confidence, you know, whether yours has commercial rights or not. But that might be something you can, you know, email Atticus directly about if you have that issue. So as this thing is populating, let's have a look at like in this Delphini one, like edit as a new theme. So we're gonna check it out. We may save, we may discard it, but I want to just go through all the settings. So, you know, if you don't do anything with the settings, then basically you don't need to save it as a new theme. But you can save it as a new theme if you change any settings. Or you can just change this, or you can just save it as a new theme if you just want to play around with things. All right. So for example, you can choose the fonts over here. So, you know, these are the fonts that they've got. As I say, it doesn't really matter what you choose for the ebook, because the reader and the e-reader can be changed, you know, to whatever fonts they prefer. But the printed version, you definitely need to kind of settle on one. All right. So yeah, so that's the chapter numbers, and I'm just waiting for it to populate. It's taking a bit of time. So let me let's go through the other bits and pieces. So you have drop caps leading. I mean, you'll see it much easier later. You've got different headings if you wanted. I basically just got one heading. It's a basic, like, only words in the manuscript. There's no like pictures, there's no anything fancy. You can have scene breaks if you want. You can upload your own image. Make sure you have the appropriate rights for it, you know, the commercial rights and all that kind of stuff. And you can make it larger or smaller. And then you can have, you know, different settings here. You can even create a book brush. There's a plugin to book brush if you have an account there. You can have footnotes. So if you want footnotes, if you have footnotes, for example, you may have footnotes in like a non-fiction, which is what I write. So this would be pertinent to me. I would have footnotes over here. So my footnotes I would adjust accordingly. Now the print layout, I usually just leave these as they are. But if you wanted to, you know, adjust the inside or outside margins, so there's the gutter inside and then the outside margin, and the indents, you know, you can change those. The layout, you know, you could possibly change that. I'm just waiting for this thing to update. It's still updating. the layout, you know, priority, widows and orphans, or are you happy with the balanced page spread, or the best of both? So, you know, sometimes it's not. Because it's Atticus, it's like you're using the software itself. This is the control that you kind of have to give up. You can't have no orphans, no widows, balanced page spread, and everything else in one program in Atticus. That's kind of the control you give up a little bit. If you wanted more control, you would have to use something a bit more powerful, a bit more exact, like Adobe InDesign or maybe Affinity Publisher. But those have you know, a bigger learning curve, for example, and they also, you know, take a bit more finesse. Okay, it's a bit more skill involved. So there's less skill involved, but this is then, you know, the trade-off that you have to make. Okay, typography, the body fonts. I like E.B. Garamond, but that's because I do I do nonfiction. That's my go-to basically. Crimson Pro is very nice as well. You know, Crimson Pro is very nice. And then the headers, footers. Now this is where you can choose, you know, the layout. Okay, so title, chapter, and then in the middle of the page, and then the page number at the side, 2 on the side on the left hand page and 3 on the right hand page. Or you can have the title close to number 2, chapter close to number 3, and so on. You know, just pick what you like, what you fancy. Or you can have nothing at all. You don't have to have author or title. Or you can have page numbers at the bottom on the corners, at the bottom in the middle, author and centered page numbering, title on the top and page number in the middle. Or you can have some kind of combination of that, like author on the side, page number in the middle of the page, and title on the other side, page number in the middle, and so on. Okay, so yeah, now trim sizes. This is really important. You need to choose your trim size before you go ahead with everything else, right? So now popular trim sizes, 6x9 is popular, 5x8 is popular. The dots over here, right? The orange and blue dots mean supported by KDP, supported by Ingram Spark. So some of them, well, you can choose, like, you know, whichever ones. Depends who you go with. So I go with KDP and D2D, which goes through Ingram, or D2D uses Ingram Spark. So for me, I would select one with 2 dots. Okay, but again, you will have to kind of play around with this and see where you land, what you like. For me, anyway, I like to choose something that's available to as many people as possible. So over here, I'm basically not changing anything. So I'm just using the settings over here. So I'm going to pause the video for a while, and then when this thing uploads, we can come back and let's see if we can change that. Let me just get this. Maybe it's just stuck a little bit. And it's kind of, it does this sometimes, which is why I may have to restart Atticus just to get this thing going again. Okay, I'm gonna pause the video and I'm gonna restart Atticus and see if I can get this back. Okay, so I'll be back in like a second. I basically just restarted Atticus because it sometimes takes a bit of time. When that happens, I find that just a restart will help. So we're still using Delphini as the theme over here. We're not editing anything. It's just we're just using the formatting as it is. We've got the print version over here, right? So you can have a look. It's calculated, you know, 67 pages. So you can scroll through if you like. Over here on the right, have a look. Right, this is what it's going to look like for chapter 1, chapter 2 over here. So let's go through like chapter 1 or chapter 2. It doesn't really matter. Let's have a look, and we're gonna edit as a new theme, so just so I can show you the differences. Okay, so for example, like keep your eye on this on the right hand side. So I'm not gonna upload any custom images or anything, and you can obviously change, you know, the if you wanted a chapter title to change, you know. So I've just changed it so it looks it looks completely off genre, so I'm not going to save that. So I'm just showing you as an example, right? And then chapter number, if you have one, you know, you could change that if you wanted. But again, you know, you got to play with these settings to see what you like. You may just want to make that really small as a width and see what happens. Just see what happens. Play around with it, and you can see the width is much smaller. You can change the size of it for the chapter title. Let's see what happens over here. There you go, it's much smaller. So, you know, play around with it. This is for the print version, yeah. And then now this is where I want to show you a bit more. Like the drop caps over here, you got sample S is a big like letter, and then it spans 2 sentences, okay? And then you can lead in with small caps. Let's give that a second, and then you'll see. So it's sample with the first sentence basically, with all capitals, but smaller than the first letter, right? Or you don't want, if you don't want drop caps, you can remove that. So then it'll just start with the first sentence as capitals, you know. But I personally like drop caps, so it depends on your genre, what you like and stuff. So make sure you know what you are using. You can use indented or spaced if you don't like paragraphs. So this currently is indented, okay? Right, this is indented, okay? Indent over here, indent over here, indent over here. But if you don't want that, you can have spaced, and you'll see it's going to change it. It's going to give you a space. So here you go, there's the space. There's a space between paragraphs, right? So this is quite common in non-fiction. This is not uncommon. But indented also works. So indented is very common for fiction. So again, it depends on your genre and how what the reader's expectation is sometimes, you know, and how you want it to look. All right. Now heading, I mean, as I said, I don't really play with these because I've only pretty much got just the one heading, which is over here, the one heading. So that's kind of where I play around my stuff. Now scene breaks, you know, if you had a scene break, you can so if you wanted to, you can upload your own image and then you can change the width. I don't have a scene break in this manuscript, but you can totally put a scene break in. I'm not going to do that for now, but you can definitely play around with that. Footnotes, we don't have any inside here, but if you had any, you know, try and just click on a few buttons and see what happens and where it appears at the bottom of the page or at the end of the book, right? So again, that's an option that you have available to you. Now print layout, I don't tend to mess with these if you want it. So this is like the inside, okay, and this is the outside. So you could, so if you wanted to change the outside to 0.1, for example, I don't think you'd be able to change actually. Hold on, let's see. 0.3, okay, they're giving you industry standards. So you can see this has shrunk. If I shrink it again to 0.25, let's see this shrink over here. Let's keep an eye here. See, it shrunk, okay? So I'm going to reset it because I don't want it that tight. So I generally just keep like these settings, like that's the inside, that's the gutter. I just keep these settings as they are, you know, because it works for me, you know, and it's kind of like industry standard, so I'm not too worried. Now orphans and widows, again, like I mentioned, you know, sometimes you get the odd word that's on its own, like balanced page spread, I don't know. Let's have a look and see what it does over here. You have to click buttons and see what it does, essentially, okay? So let's see. So it hasn't really done much because I don't really have any orphans and widows. You can even click best of both and see what it does. And ultimately, it's up to you how you would like your book to appear, all right? As I say, I tend to just use, like for my recent books, I use best of both, okay? That's my setting, but completely up to you, right? Typography, body fonts, you can play around with it. I like EB Garamond, but Crimson Pro is pretty cool as well. I like Crimson Pro. I've used that before. So yeah, again, comes back to what you prefer. Line spacing over here, let's reduce that to 1.5 and you'll see it shrink it down. So you can see the thing has shrunk down quite significantly. But if you increase it to 1.5, you'll see it increase in space. And this is important because then it affects how thick your book is going to be, right? That's why it's updating, it's calculating the new page count. And then you can obviously try headers and footers. So currently we've got, I've actually not put any author details, so it's not going to show up. Let's discard this because I should probably put some author details in, shouldn't I, really? So, I don't know. So start up with Andy. And let's upload the image. Sample book cover. Thriller book. The best the best thriller book. Okay, so I've got all these details, and then if you wanted to put your ISBNs, you can. I don't have any, but this is where you put it. So random 2, there's no link, I don't know, SPWA, self-pub with Annie, right? Okay, so let's go back and see what happens. So you can do this on the previewer, which is great. So you can just go back. This is the table of contents, and then you got the copyright page, and then you got the title page, the best thriller books are published, and then your publisher logo, if you have any. All right. So let's go back to formatting, and this is what it looks like in print. Okay, and then just scroll through. Now I'm gonna show you a few things that we missed. So over here, now that we've got the title of the book, we can have chapters and stuff. We'll just have a look. So chapter 2, so the best thriller book, for example, that's the title of the book, and then you got the self-pub with Annie as the author. So you got this layout over here. You can choose any layout you fancy. So you can choose this one, for example. Just let it update. So you'll see the page number and then the author name next to it. Okay, just give it a second. Okay, so there's the title and then the page number. And the next one, there you go, page number and the author name. So just choose what you like, the layout wise. Don't overthink it, you know. Worst comes to worst, have a look at your genre and see what other people have done, and go from there, basically. Go from there. It's not copying because it's just a layout. It's just a layout, okay? And as I say, the trim size is really important because the print 67 pages, let's say I chose 6x9, you watch this drop down, okay? Watch this drop down. So 6x9 is what I'm going to use. It's going to calculate the page count. It's going to drop significantly because you can get more words in one page, and that shrinks down the whole book, okay? So just give it a second. It does take a bit of time sometimes, you know. So yeah. As it calculates the page count, have a look at what other books, you know, do and what you want to do. So it went from 67 pages to 52. That's significant because the spine on your book is going to change, right? So when you create your cover for your print book or hardcover, the spine is dictated partly by how many pages you have, okay, the spine on the book. And that is why you need to decide what kind of trim size you want before you mess around with the printing and stuff, right? So once you got this, you can export to PDF. I like the PDF. Discard this. Discard that. I'm just going to export to PDF so we can see what the final product looks like. Okay, give it a second. I'm still thinking. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna export it again. It's still thinking. So let's give it a bit of time for it to think. Yeah, it's gonna take it won't take too long, so don't be like, oh my god, I can go and do my grocery shopping and everything. It's not gonna take that long. Okay, so I've just downloaded it. It took like less than a minute. Let's open this in Chrome. So I'm just going to scroll through so you can see this is what the PDF looks like. And this is what I would be uploading directly to KDP or Ingram Spark. So there we go. Everything is, you know, everything looks okay. Nothing, you know, it's just words really. So let's just scroll down further. So like this looks okay, this looks okay, you know. So you got to go through this as a proof. This is part of the process. You have to proof at least on screen, you know, preferably even get it in print. So this is about the author, the acknowledgements, the epilogue. Perfect. Everything looks okay, you know. So then, you know, you download your copy, you upload it, and that is it. That is your Atticus, you know, walkthrough. I've read quite a few books of Atticus and have been really quite impressed with it on the whole. As you saw, you know, it glitched on me before, but I find like getting a tea or stretching your legs or just doing a restart of Atticus, it just works, you know. So it's not a big deal for me anyway, right? Not to mention, you've seen it only takes me like all of 5 minutes to format anything, and basically I can repeat this process 10 times and not even hit 1 hour, right? Which is how long it would take me probably if I were to use like other programs. It'd probably take me way longer, you know, if I were to try and figure out Affinity Publisher or InDesign, Adobe. That stuff would take me way longer, or even Microsoft Word, you know. I tried and it drove me crazy. Anyway, bottom line is I highly recommend Atticus if you have the budget for it. If you don't, I completely understand. You know, we all start somewhere. There's some great and 100% free options out there, like I just mentioned Microsoft Word, Draft2Digital, Readsy, and there's more, right? So have a look around. Now, if you've already got a book or two published and you want to get book reviews the legit way, check out this playlist. If you're on the fence about using Amazon's publishing arm, and I don't blame you at all, check out this video here where I offer some perspective as well as what I personally did with my published books. Hit that like button, I'll see you there.